Frozen state. Frozen state. Really, really kind of weird. It is possible that you find somebody. This is not like what happens when you just come out of a pool on a hot day. This is like someone's almost encased in ice. This is like Captain America Marvel movie, like Frozen. This is, episode 5 of Star Wars, Frozen. Like person, well, okay, not that, but person is frozen. Okay, so absolutely frozen state. Person's whole body is rigid. We're talking total body hypothermia plus frostbite. With frozen state, often they get cold so fast that they get basically frozen in time, kind of, before the hypothermia can kill them. Now, how do you know if the person died from hypothermia before they were frozen, or if they were frozen before they died of hypothermia? You can't. You can't actually know that. That can only really be determined when they're slowly rewarmed in a hospital environment. So what will happen if you have somebody who is incredibly cold, who's frozen in a medical environment, is they'll often be transported in ice, or they'll be kept frozen until they get to a controlled medical environment where they will rewarm them from the inside out in many cases, which you can't do in first aid. And once it's possible to do compressions on them without, just like shattering their brittle chest cavity from everything being frozen. There's been some dramatic representations of this, but doing CPR on someone with a frozen state and like your hands just shatter through, like you're breaking like a like a cookie. Like it's like really graphic and awesome. I mean, really, yeah. For those of you who are medical nerds and like watching really cool things, it's quite the injury to see. So other than that, they're gonna, once they get them warm enough, they're gonna potentially do CPR on a person up to like 24 hours straight while they just keep rewarming them, like 12 to 24 hours. They're not gonna consider you dead until you're warm and dead. So they're gonna rewarm you at the temperature they think that they need to, and they're just gonna keep going. Like, it's quite a sight to see the new residents who have to, I mean, the attending's probably not doing this, the new residents that have to just cycle on CPR for a long time when you've got someone who's very cold or hypothermic. The aside, when you have somebody in frozen state, this is a emergency responder, paramedic, 911, or whatever number you use problem. This isn't a you problem. Do not touch them. Do not attempt a head tilt chin lift to see if the person's breathing. Their head just might snap off. And what's first aid for a decapitation? I don't know. We're not in space tech yet. No idea. So, I mean, control the airway. Well, it's detached. So don't touch them. Well, okay, you can, oh, you're frozen. It's hard. Don't move them. Paramedics will come, transport them, and then it's a medical system will deal with it problem. Okay, don't overcomplicate this. That's basically the thing. The difference between hypothermia that's set in and frozen state, whole body is not frozen hard with hypothermia. Okay, that happens. You might be doing CPR. Frozen state, you're not. You just leave them as is. There are a lot of, I don't know a lot of anymore, actually. There were, in the last 10 or 15 years, a few really interesting cases that hit the news talking about frozen state. I'll see if we can link some references to them here. If we can find them again, I think we should be able to, but anyways. So one of them, which was pretty interesting, was a child got outside on a winter day. It was very cold, and don't get into the specifics of how that happened. Whatever, child was outside. They're out in the they were out in very, very cold without like a jacket or whatever, and they froze like they froze solid, and it was for like 4 hours or something, for an extended period of time. Stopped breathing. Now, normally 4 to 6 minutes, brain death starts, brain damage starts from brain cells dying. 10 minutes, like you're gone. But this is like hours not breathing. They find him, they rewarm him in a hospital, in a medical environment, full recovery, no injuries, because you're just kind of encased in time. You're like your time's like stopped. The brain death and the cell death isn't accruing. I actually, that might not, the no injuries thing might not be true. I think he might have had like minor skin damage, like from frostbite that healed, but we're not talking like nothing like long-term life-threatening. There was another case where an 8-year-old, I think it was an 8-year-old, it might have been a 15-year-old, a child, got into the wheel well of an airplane, and the airplane flew from, I forget, to I think Hawaii. It was a 8+ hour flight, and because they were in the wheel well, this is not like the cabin. This part gets cold, it like depressurizes when you get into atmosphere. So there was no oxygen, or not enough oxygen in high altitude. Kid froze on the way up, and then no oxygen for 8 hours. They find him in the wheel well when they land. The paramedics transport him in ice while frozen, and they get him to the hospital, rewarm inside. Once again, full recovery, no long-term injuries. There's another case, another case, and I don't know if we can find this one, but if we can, good on research here. This one's a while ago. Someone was buried in like an avalanche, and they found them 2 weeks later. Rewarmed them, frozen state. They lived. They had injuries. They had long-term. I think they might have had an amputation from something, long-term damage. They had injuries, but they lived. And we're talking not breathing for 2 weeks. Like frozen state is special. It's quite something. If you want to ever go down a rabbit hole, do a deep dive on interesting medical stuff on the internet, frozen state's one of those ones where it's really, really interesting. The whole field of cryogenics, of the idea of, you have a life-threatening condition where there's no cure yet, and maybe in 1,000 years or 100 years we'll find a cure for it, so I'll freeze myself to, come back then. The whole idea behind that is the idea of frozen state. There's all sorts of, the deep dive in frozen state's a lot of fun. So anyways, okay, that's cold. We're good on cold? Okay, cool.